A phone lets us communicate with each other through phone calls and texting, so when Apple announced iMessage in 2011, SMS and MMS were the systems used to send text messages to each other, and back then, we had only a limited amount of messages we can send per month, or it would cost a lot to send one message. But iMessage was supposed to be the solution to this problem, and Apple did it by sending a text over Wi-Fi or cellular connection with the same phone number as you already have. So you can send messages with it using the limitations on your phone bill or being charged extra for it. And you can send higher quality photos and videos than you could with SMS. But if you didn't have the stable connection or internet or texted someone with an Android phone, the iPhone reverted to SMS. For some of you, this might sound strange, especially if you live in a country where sending SMS were expensive and now use chat apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, and Messenger. iMessage is the default messaging app on iPhone. And for Android, it feels like every phone manufacturer has its messaging app. And poor Google, who have tried numerous times to make a standard messaging app on Android. What seems to have come closest to competing with iMessage was Google Hangouts. Hangouts was an extension to Google Plus's messaging service and brought Android messages into one place with support for SMS, MMS, messaging over data with a Google account. The best part was that it worked everywhere, on Android, iOS, in a browser, smartwatches, and more. In 2016, Google started to look at other messaging strategies, including making Google Messages the default messaging app on Android. Why this was a good idea remains a mystery. And Google Allo took a WhatsApp approach, which means Google Allo was a phone number-based messaging app with end-to-end encryption, and seemingly growing away from an all-in-one solution as iMessage is for iOS users and Google Hangouts was supposed to be for Android. No wonder why messaging on Android is so fragmented. In 2019, Google started to push RCS, which is supposed to replace MMS, in hopes that RCS would be the new standard messaging system. So what is RCS? The easiest way to explain it is iMessage for everyone else but iPhone users for now. You get encryption, receipts for delivering and reading messages, typing indicators, video calls, high quality video and photo sharing, better group functionality, just like iMessage. If Apple added support for RCS, we could have functional group chats across devices. If you ask Apple to add RCS support, they will probably say no, because they have had iMessage for over a decade and that have become the best first-party messaging app by far, and probably unintentionally. With the distinction between iMessage messages and SMS messages, they have created a culture around iMessage. The Wall Street Journal published an article about the color indication system in iMessage and how teens and students look at the green bubble negatively. They interviewed teens and students who tried Android for a while, and they quickly realized that group messaging worked way better on iPhone. And one of the first questions that came up in the group chat after the switch were, "Who's green?" It's almost like it's blasphemy to send a green text. And to be honest, I don't think this is a one-off situation, and it's almost like it's psychological pressure for teens and students to switch over to iPhone. And Apple know that people are switching to iPhone just to be one of the cool kids. That got confirmed in emails that surfaced during the Epic lawsuit. In 2013, Apple did consider making an Android version of iMessage, but that did not come to fruition after concerns from Craig Federighi and other executives in charge of iOS, because they feared that iMessage on Android would remove one obstacle to iPhone families giving their child an Android phone. After the Wall Street Journal article was published, Harashi Lockheimer tweeted about this and said, "Using peer pressure and bullying as a way to sell products is disingenuous for a company that has humanity and equity as a core part of its marketing." The official Android account retweeted this and invited Apple to add RCS support to iMessage. And to be honest, I don't think Apple is doing anything with RCS, and I will be pleasantly surprised if they do. So to look at both sides of this, yes, Apple should add RCS support, but from Apple's perspective, why change something that already works? Apple is earning a lot of money from a fragmented messaging system on Android, and shareholders would be pissed if Apple did anything that hurt their earnings. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing for more tech related videos.